Should you trust the first opinion you get whenever it comes to a problem with your sewer line? Today we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about what happened in this particular circumstance with a potential client of mine and what the person that was there before me said to them. But before we get started, I want you to go ahead, scroll on down to them comments real quick. Tell me, what type of sewer line do you have? Is yours made out of PVC? Cast iron? Maybe. Do you have terracotta pipe? And let us know, have you had any issues? Have you had any work done on that system? So that way we can start the conversation and maybe your story can help out somebody else who's going through a problem figure out what they should do. First thing we got to talk about though, the baseline for this story. I had a client call in because they had a plumber come to their property and run a camera through their sewer line. Now, the sewer line supposedly had a separation in the line to where the camera could not proceed. The concern that the homeowner had with this particular plumber was that the sewer line wasn't completely scoped and water was flowing easily beyond where his camera ended up. So I get called in to go ahead and see if I can either have the same issue happen to me, I can replicate the problem, or maybe I can get beyond where this guy got and we can see what the sewer line looks like. Older homes in Baltimore and the surrounding counties, typically in the home you're going to have cast iron pipe underneath the slab, and then right when you get to the foundation, that's where it's going to transition to a different pipe material. Usually it's going to be terracotta. If it's brand new, it'll be PVC, but most of the time if it's brand new, you're going to see a clean out in the front yard that's also PVC, so it's usually a clear as day telltale sign you don't have terracotta underground. Most of these older homes though, it's almost always terracotta. We've talked about terracotta pipe in the past, and essentially all it is clay pipe, and it's kind of like a clay pot like you'd see for a garden, and it's just as brittle as that clay pot. So those pipes, as they're joined together, it's going to look like a bell shape. Usually they're not sealed, but sometimes you would get it where they would seal it with concrete or something to keep roots and stuff from getting in there, but that doesn't happen all the time. Most of the homes around here, like I said, have cast iron in the home, and then it transitions to terracotta. Even though the terracotta pipe's still working, they never really use cement around those bells to really keep the soil and the roots out. Terracotta pipe, as it's kind of laid in, it's gonna shift a little bit. It might be a little bit to the left, might be a little bit to the right, but it's gonna constantly move a little bit here and a little bit there. So I get to this house and I asked the guy to go ahead and show me the photo of where this guy got, so that way I can kind of see what my distance is going to be and whether or not I actually got beyond him. The photo the guy shows me, the homeowner, is going to show me right where the cast iron pipe transitions to terracotta. Most of the time around here, there's going to be a little bit of a difference in the pipe size and pipe diameter. So you'll see what looks like a separation, even though it's not like truly a huge separation. And what do I mean by that? So remember, we have the bell shape and the pipe sits in there. The terracotta line is going to be slightly larger than the cast iron line. So there's going to be like a little tiny gap between the two. So most of the time what'll happen is you'll have the cast iron pipe go, it'll step down maybe 1/8 of an inch. It's not that big of a drop, but it'll step down just a little bit. And then the sewer water will continue going on its way, and off into the main road it goes. So now I know where this guy stopped. So he stopped right at the transition, and that basically puts us right where the foundation ends and the grass begins. I'm able to get my camera into the sewer line, same exact spot as he did. And if you ever have a second opinion for a sewer line, it's very important to make sure that you try to replicate everything. So if the one guy went through with a clean out on the left side of the house, your second opinion should also start from the left side of the house, just so that way you can verify that nothing was missed, or you can confirm what was found, or maybe you can dispute what was found. But always, 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 always have your second opinion or your third opinion try to replicate exactly what the other guy did. So we run the camera through, we get to this transition point, and my camera immediately shoots right past it, carries on all the way to the street, no problem. Now, again, remember, terracotta pipes, it'll usually have disjoints. It won't always perfectly line up. So there's a little bit of soil and a little bit of tiny roots, but we're talking angel hair pasta root size, so not terrible. And the previous guy, the other company that gave them couldn't get past the transition point, it was said that the whole sewer line needs to be replaced. And that was going to cost about 12 grand. That's why we're here. So when you have sewer lines, should it be perfectly connected? Yes. But if you're a homeowner and you're not selling the house, if you're not doing any kind of addition, most of the time what you're looking for is basically, does it work? You want to know, is it functional? You have three options, all right? So if you have terracotta pipe, your three options are you do nothing, and then if you get a clog, you snake it out. Second option is you jet it or you auger it, depending on how bad it looks, but you jet it out and flush out whatever's there. Your third option is replacement. Each of these progressively get more and more expensive. For sewer lines, at least in Maryland, it's not a regulated inspection. There's not a rule book that says what is and is not okay. Now, if you're installing a system, like if it is a new build or if it is a replacement, the codes will then tell you what is and is not okay, but there's no rule for existing systems. On the septic side of the world, there is. So the septic side of the world, it's regulated. That terracotta sewer line, all those disjoints are problems and it has to be replaced. But that's because it's regulated and there's a rule book that says what an existing system should look like. On public sewer, that rule's not the same. They govern based off of functionality, unless it's brand new. So if you're in the comments trying to flame me, show me the rule. Show me the rule for an existing system to match that it's not got any separations. On public sewers, that rule does not exist. So if you have it, leave a comment below. But again, Maryland only. Don't hit me with something from like Montana, right? So this guy, we find his problems. We see all of these roots. We see all of these soil intrusion points, but it's not terribly bad. And now this guy's wondering, okay, well, why was I able to get beyond the transition point and the other guy was not? And that's where it comes down to equipment type. I don't know what type of camera this guy was using, but it's important to make sure that whoever you're calling has either different attachments you can put on the head. Like, for example, I have this little like baseball-sized thing that kind of lifts the head up a little bit. So if I get heavy separations in the pipe, I can kind of bounce over top of them. Maybe this guy didn't have it. The photo he took looks different, so it could have been a cheaper, more flimsy camera to where if he meets any kind of resistance, he's unable to get beyond it. A lot of times I'll see those cheaper cameras being used because mostly they're just trying to figure out where the issue is and then start digging to repair whatever's going wrong. Most of them aren't really trying to force their way through the entirety of it, to see what all of it looks like before they start cutting. In this circumstance, the homeowner didn't feel comfortable with that first choice, and that's okay. My opinion is, if I'm telling you something, if you don't like what I had to say, or if you want to confirm what I had to say, I encourage people to get a second opinion all the time. If I find something wrong, I'll say, hey, listen, here's what I found, here's what we got to do to fix it, here's your price range. If you want to do it, cool. If you don't want to do it, okay. If you want to have a second opinion, here's a few people that I know that do good work. You can also call them. I think there's plenty of work out there for all of us, and having those fair, honest conversations is what's most important for the customer and for the homeowner. And by doing that, guess what? They call you a lot more often, and more than likely you're going to end up getting the bid. I think as a homeowner, you should at least get 3 opinions, especially when we're talking something about 10 grand. If you're in the 10 grand range, you want to make sure that you're not overpaying, or you're not basically protecting yourself. It's important to make sure that if you have a large project, such as a sewer line replacement, that you're getting another opinion, because there's no going back once you sign that contract and you tear up your entire yard. In our area, most of these sewer lines can be replaced in a day or 2, sometimes a little longer if you have to deal with like asphalt or concrete, but having the right people in the right place will make sure that this goes smoothly. In our area, you have to permit all sewer line replacements. It has to get inspected. There's a process for it. So hopefully your area also has that regulation. Remember, you don't always have to just outright replace a sewer line. You could replace sections of it. You could jet it. But again, that's for an existing system, not for a brand new one. Most commonly, you only really get the inspectors involved if you're replacing all of it. Most of the time, you just have to do a declaration, or you just have to say, hey, I'm replacing this one little piece. For example, I know that a lot of times in our area, the inspectors in the health department doesn't really get that fussy unless you're replacing more than 10 foot of pipe. If you're doing a foot or 2, they don't really pay that much mind to it. Don't do things illegal. Make sure you follow all of your local codes and all of your local regulations. Get the inspections, pull the permits, do all that good stuff so that way you don't get in trouble and you don't get the homeowner in trouble. If you found this useful, hopefully we were able to have a good conversation down below. Leave a comment, hit that like button, and hit subscribe. Till next time, guys.